Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ball Around the Head. This time around, we got quite a bit to talk about, actually. There's been some trades that went down. There's been some injuries, unfortunately, that happened, and the trade deadline's coming up Thursday, so we'll give our predictions later on. But the biggest news in the NBA, unarguably, I'd say, is injuries. Some pretty big injuries. Last week on March 13th, I believe, Joel Embiid went down with a bone bruise in his left knee, and he's out 2 to 3 weeks. Then yesterday, actually, LeBron James is out. He has a high ankle sprain. He's out indefinitely. And then just a couple hours ago, the unfortunate news that LaMelo has a fractured right wrist, and he is done for the rest of the season. They will see second opinions, but it does not look like we'll see LaMelo Ball for the rest of the year. So I'm going to ask you, Andrew, which injury will hurt their team the most?
I'm going to say LaMelo Ball's injury on the Hornets, because the Hornets were on track to win the first round of the playoffs. And without LaMelo Ball, that's obviously not going to happen. LaMelo Ball averages just under 30 minutes for the Hornets. And he's also the main player when it comes to hyping up the team and bringing the energy. He also averages around 16 points. So that's a lot of, minutes, points, and, energized features that LaMelo is losing for the Hornets. So unfortunate to see. My LaMelo Ball jersey hasn't even came in yet, and he's already out for the season. So I don't know what to say. But yeah, I think LaMelo's injury.
All right, Ben.
Yeah, the injury bug has bitten the NBA. I'm going to agree with you, Andrew. Optimistically, as a Lakers fan, I'm going to agree with you and say that LaMelo Ball's injury will be the most costly, just because he's out for the season. You hate to see it. We hope all these guys get better as soon as possible. But it's really unfortunate because LaMelo has been playing so great, the favorite for Rookie of the Year up to this point. As for Embiid's injury, he seems to be doing fine. He said he's feeling better. So the timetable might be 2 to 3 weeks from the injury. It's not going to have the same impact as the other injuries. LeBron, I'm going to be optimistic and say that I can't imagine a high ankle sprain will keep him out of the playoffs, but you don't know.
It says Woj was talking earlier, and when Woj talks, you listen. And it said around 11 to 12. It said 11 to 12 games. That's a Yao Ming reference. If anyone didn't get it, he posted on Kobe. He posted a photo of Kobe. But yeah, he listed around 10 to 11 games for LeBron, which is 4 or 5 weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, besides out for the year, out indefinitely are the two words that you just don't want to hear when it comes to an injury. So here's hoping that he'll get back with plenty of time before the playoffs. I agree, Connor. We're not taking into account that LaMelo Ball might not be able to shoot as well with a fractured wrist. It's true.
Yeah, I appreciate both those comments. Those were very smart comments. That LaMelo news, like Eli said, that one hurts. You may not be his biggest fan, but he brings energy. He's definitely proved a lot of doubters wrong this year. He's unarguably, I'd say, in my opinion, I think we all agree he's the Rookie of the Year leader. It's not going to happen anymore because he's out. But yeah, that one hurt. Like you guys said, LeBron, he's going to come back. He's going to come in the playoffs. And the reason that the injury, it is a big deal, but it isn't, is because, let's just say the Lakers fall to the 6th seed. They might be the most dangerous 6th seed in NBA history. Mm-hmm. And because they'll have LeBron and AD coming back healthy, and no team is going to, even with home court advantage, no team's going to want to face them. Although it'd be pretty cool to see a LA Lakers first round matchup. That'd be something.
That's true.
The finals, the conference finals would be a lot more hype.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. The NBA probably wouldn't like it first round, but it could happen.
Clippers can't reach the conference finals, so you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it'd be a Knicks and a Nets first round, perhaps, with a Lakers.
That would get a ton of ratings. Clippers. That would be insane. Yeah, so LeBron will be back. It's unfortunate that he did get hurt. His ankle, that was not fun to watch. Embiid, you see the Sixers, they're dominating all these teams without Embiid, sometimes without Simmons too. They're still winning. So yes, it hurts he's out, but they're still winning games. And they're still in first place in the East. They just won like 5 minutes ago against the Knicks in overtime. So yes, that sucks that he's out, but they're still moving along. He'll be ready for playoffs as well. And I'm going to agree with all you two as well, because LaMelo, he's out. The Hornets were on a roll. I believe they were like the 5th seed as of a couple days ago, but they've lost a couple games in a row, and now they're 8th seed, I believe. So yeah, that hurts. He's the Rookie of the Year leader. He gets triple doubles like once in a while. He's just a really good player, and it's going to hurt this team a lot. They can still make the play-in. I don't think they're a lock for a top 8 seed though, but the Raptors are struggling bad right now. They don't look like they're turning it around. The Wizards look like they finally got it figured out, but now they're losing again. So they could still very well
out.
But as we mentioned last week, when we said, should we take the Hornets seriously? I think that question's completely off the table. I don't think the Hornets are going to beat anyone in the first round series anymore, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully these players get back healthy. It's the worst part of sports, injuries. You never want to see it happen, even to your worst enemy, your favorite player. You never want to see an injury happen, so hopefully these players get back healthy. But as I said at the beginning of the podcast, there have been trades. And next week is the trade deadline, as in Thursday, and that's my favorite time of the year. It's the best time of the year if you're an NBA fan, because all the action goes down. Woj, as Andrew mentioned, that's when you need to start listening to him recently. Shams, they all report the best things. But probably the biggest trade out of the two was PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, I have the details right here. It's a little complicated. He was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, which I don't think any of us predicted, right? I don't think any of us predicted he's going to the Bucks. So that we were wrong on that one. He was traded to the Bucks along with Rodion Kurucs and Milwaukee's own first-round pick in 2022 in exchange for DJ Augustine, DJ Wilson, a 2023 unprotected first. And Houston has the right to swap their second-round pick with Milwaukee's first unless Milwaukee's first is in the top 9, which there's no chance they're going to be one of the 9 worst teams in the NBA. So basically, the Rockets traded their second-round pick for like a couple picks up for the Milwaukee pick, which will be in the later first round for those nerds out there who actually care about that. And also a part of the trade, the Suns acquired Torrey Craig. The Bucks just dropped him for cash considerations. So, Ben, what are your thoughts on the PJ Tucker trade?
I like it for both sides. I think PJ Tucker, we discussed last week how we all like his game. I think he fits in well, especially to the Bucks system. With the same reason that I thought he'd be a good fit with the Lakers. You got someone, Giannis, who's great at that, spread the floor offense, so he can hit the corner 3 and he can defend higher than his position, may allow them to go small a little bit more. I think you might be seeing a little less of Bobby Portis. And for the Rockets, getting better pick acquisitions, even though it was kind of complicated to follow. It did upgrade in the end. And they got a young DJ and an old DJ. And so, yeah, I mean, they're in full rebuild mode, the Rockets. They've lost 20 straight games, which has been half of the season thus far. They've literally half of the season that's been played already, they've lost in a row. So that's kind of crazy. So they're in full rebuild mode. So I like it for them as well.
A fun stat to add on to that is the last time the Rockets won a game, Tom Brady had 6 Super Bowl rings. So,
wow, I didn't even realize that it's been that long. Wow.
Yeah. So, Andrew, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Well, first off, I want to say about how I found out about this trade was on Instagram, and it was the Rockets staff carrying the bags and bags of PJ Tucker's shoes, which I thought was hilarious because if anybody who doesn't know, PJ Tucker is a known sneakerhead who has hundreds, probably, I'm not going to say thousands, but he has hundreds of shoes shoe pairs in the locker room, just scattered around. So, I mean, as far as PJ Tucker's role on the Bucks, like Ben said, he'll be really good to help spread the floor just to get Giannis more, open looks in the paint, which I'm sure isn't really a problem. But, it's always good to have that corner shot. And the Bucks are definitely a lot bigger of a contender because, with the Nets getting all these players, Blake Griffin, James Harden this year, They were a huge overstack threat in the East, and the Sixers obviously being as dominant as they were this year. The Bucks kind of fell off the map, but with this PJ Tucker trade, they're right back on, and I'm sure they'll surprise people in the playoffs. I'm rooting for them as far as the East. I'm gonna be honest.
On that note, the Bucks are 9-1 in their last 10, which is the best mark out of any team right now. So the entire top of the East has been playing very well lately. Actually, it's kind of gone under the radar.
Oh yeah, Giannis said himself that they enjoy not being talked about because they're not talked about, but they're 2 games out of the first seed in the East, and they're playing extremely good basketball right now. Giannis, people don't want to talk about it. We'll get in a little discussion about it later, but he's putting up MVP numbers yet again.
Don't even say that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But for this trade, as you guys said, PJ Tucker, great defender. They said when PJ Tucker and Giannis saw each other, they just looked at each other, laughed, and said, "I don't have to guard you anymore." And just a little exchange because PJ Tucker is a very good defender, and Giannis apparently didn't like getting guarded by PJ Tucker. And now they're reunited, like you guys said. He has that corner 3 that's going to help space the floor for Giannis a bit. He can give Giannis a little break on the defensive end when he wants to guard, like the LeBrons, the Jimmy Butlers, for example. But yeah, I love the trade for Milwaukee. They're showing Giannis that they're in it to win it. They don't care about future picks. They don't care about any of that. They want to win a championship before his next contract expires, which would be in 6 years, I believe. And just a little part of the trade that no one's really talking about. It's a solid acquisition for the Suns, getting Torrey Craig for cash considerations. Torrey Craig, as recently as last year, played some pretty legit minutes for the Nuggets in the playoffs. He's a very good defender, really nothing offensively, but decent defense. But yeah, like Ben said, Houston is going through a full-blown rebuild. They're not playing good basketball. John Wall, I don't know what's happening there, but he obviously didn't want to go in that situation of a tanking team. And poor Steven Silas, that's all I got to say. That dude walked into one of the worst jobs in the league without even realizing it. It's not his fault they lost 20 straight. And if you think that, I don't know what to tell you. It's not his fault. That franchise right now is just a complete mess. They're going to trade a bunch of players. Oladipo has been rumored to get traded. But yeah, I like the trade from Milwaukee, though. It makes them a little more scary. And I like how
they need to get Coach Sock on.
Coach who?
Sock on.
What?
Suck on so these confused. Nuts. Suck on these nuts.
Okay. In the comment section, real quick. Actually, let's talk about that before the next topic. I'm not surprised we didn't. I can't speak. Nate McMillan and the Hawks are rolling right now. They've won 8 straight, I want to say. And they're currently the 4th seed. I might not ask Andrew this question because he doesn't seem like he wants to talk about it. But Ben, what's going on, and what are your thoughts about Nick McMillan coaching the Hawks to 8 straight wins?
I mean, it's great for them. I mean, this is more like the Hawks we expected coming into the year. And by the way, everyone, Andrew picked most of the questions for the day, so that's not why that was not. We had to go to the comments section to hear about this, but yeah, they're above 500, 4 seed in the East. I haven't watched much Hawks basketball recently, but but yeah, they're doing great. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I hope they get to the playoffs just so they lose the first round and get swept. That's the only reason why I'm going to root for the Hawks. Actually, I hope they go against the Nets and just learn what it really takes to win.
Yeah, Nate McMillan is a very good coach who arguably probably shouldn't have been fired in Indiana, because look at Atlanta, look at Indiana. Indiana's going down. Sorry, Connor, I know you're in the chat. And Atlanta's going up. They're currently the 4th seed, all alone in the 4th seed. And Nate McMillan has yet to lose a game. Although, to be fair, he hasn't really played the best competition. He's had a couple of good games. For the majority, it's been kind of the bottom of the conference teams. But still, it's very impressive considering how they were playing before. And they still have a bunch of injuries. They're not fully healthy. So it's still crazy. So good for Nick McMillan. I'm sorry, Connor. But anyways, there was another trade, as we did mention. Thank you for that comment, Eli. We totally forgot about that topic. Trevor Ariza, who was yet to play a single minute before today, he got traded from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Miami Heat in exchange for Myers Leonard and a 2027 second-round pick. Now, if you were not in the news for the past couple of weeks, Myers Leonard has said some bad things, and he will no longer be he's not going to be with the Thunder. They said he's probably going to get waived, and who knows what his NBA future holds. So that part of the deal kind of doesn't really matter. It's mainly the Trevor Ariza for a 2027 second-round pick. So, Ben, what are your thoughts on the Trevor Ariza trade?
I don't think it's going to be very consequential, honestly. I feel like Trevor Ariza, I mean, I know there are reasons he wasn't getting minutes in Oklahoma City. They're in rebuild mode and they want to play their young guys. But just in general, I'm not buying Trevor Ariza as someone who's going to make that much of a difference in the NBA at this point in his career. I could be wrong, but I don't think he has much left, honestly. So I don't think this is going to make much of a difference. Like you mentioned last week, another sixth grader was traded. It's interesting to see.
It's so crazy how these picks are all like so far away, and OKC is just stockpiling all these picks. It's insane. Andrew, what do you think about this trade?
I'm going to be honest. I haven't heard Trevor Ariza since 2009, which is when he won the Lakers championship. But I mean, like, I kind of agree with Ben. Like, what's he going to do? I mean, there's probably a lot of Trevor reasons for him to be on the Heat. Maybe his leadership, maybe his playoff experience. But I don't know. I just don't buy him being that useful. I mean, didn't he score like 5 points today? Like that's so.
He scored 0.
Exactly.
He played like 5 minutes. Yeah, for Miami, they got rid of a player who was out for the year and wasn't going to report to the team anymore, and got a player who has experience. He's way past his prime, obviously, but he can hit down the three occasionally. Solid defense, but he's I think he's 35, so obviously the production is not the same. But for them, it's a no-brainer. You're trading for someone who can give you some veteran experience for a person who is not going to play a single minute for you, and just a 2027 second-round pick, which, I mean, who knows? We have 6 years to figure out what that is. So yeah, it's not like a crazy blockbuster trade, but it's a decent trade for Pat Riley and the Heat. I think a lot of other teams would have done the same exact thing. But yeah, let's just not read too much into it. It is Trevor Ariza, and like Ben said, he hasn't played for the season for a reason. He got traded, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 times this offseason, or 5. He got traded from another team to another team to another team to another team. No one really wanted him, so who knows? But yeah, but a trade that did happen. What's up?
Speaking of vets who don't get minutes, Udonis Haslem is still on the Heat roster, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to think about. I feel like he hasn't played for like 5 years.
They don't play.
He's more of a vocal leader.
Yeah, I'm confused. I'm not a Heat fan, so Heat fan, don't attack me, but I'm confused why they signed him to a player contract when he doesn't play and he mainly just coaches, basically. That's why he's there, for the veteran leadership. So I don't know why they don't just sign him to an assistant coach contract instead of a player contract so you could have a free roster spot. I don't know. It's a respect thing, so obviously they're paying their respects by giving him a contract, maybe. I don't know. But yeah,
that's more money. They give him more money.
That's true.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, a trade that did happen that we finally got to see action for is Blake Griffin. Or not trade, actually. Excuse me, that was false. Buyout. Technically trade. So as we mentioned when we talked about the buyout originally, we said that Blake Griffin has yet to sorry, what was just tweeted? I just had to check that out real quick. Blake Griffin has yet to dunk all season. In his Nets debut tonight, he dunked. And people are like, this guy really just finessed the entire league and just wanted to get to a championship contender. So, Andrew, what were your thoughts on Blake Griffin's Nets debut tonight?
When he dunked, it was a pass from James Harden to Blake Griffin, and I thought he was going to shoot the 3, and then I actually got pump faked myself. And he drove to the basket, and I said, no. I was like, no. And he dunked it, and I started laughing because it's just true. He finessed the entire league. So, I mean, good on Blake Griffin. I'm such a big Blake Griffin fan. That's why I wanted him on the Lakers. But yeah, I mean, good for Blake Griffin. Get him out of Piston territory and straight to a championship contender Nets. So, I mean, he didn't really do much. He played 15 minutes. He got 2 rebounds, 2 points. So I think it was more just, again, he's like a super role player. He's actually did a lot less than I thought today. But yeah, I'm happy he's on the Nets.
Ben, what you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised neither of you mentioned that dunk was his only 2 points of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't make too much of this. This is his first game. It's going to take him some time, as with every trade, to adjust to the system. But for anyone who thought that this would be, he would be the 4th member of a big 4, that's out the window. That is not going to happen. He will be some sort of role player, maybe like 6th man at best, sort of role with that team. But I still think he's going to contribute. And unlike Daniel, I think it was actually a net positive move for them. I think he'll contribute in a valuable way for the Nets. But it's too early to tell what his role is going to be.
Wait, and I will actually mention, you kind of mentioned it yourself, Ben. Like, he looked pretty awkward out there, kind of adjusting to a new team. So yeah, I think it'll take time. You're right.
Yeah, like you said, when we discussed this at first, I was saying that there's literally so much hype of him being old Blake Griffin and, all these teams should have signed him. What are they doing? They missed out on All-Star, and that's not who he is, and that's not who he has been for 2 years. He's had all these injuries, and you're right. He is just a role player for them. That's what he's getting paid to do, and he knew that. He's going there to win a championship. That's all he cares about. Now, I still don't think it was the best move that everyone's saying it to be, but I've kind of leaned towards it's a decent move. Will this help you win a championship? I'm not quite sure he's that one piece that's going to help you, but there's so many rumors. Whoever gets bought out is going to go to the Nets, and they know that. A lot of people are going to want to play with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. So they're not asking Blake Griffin to be a 15-point per game player off the bench. They're asking him to play his role. Like tonight, 2 points, 15 minutes, 1 of 2 shooting, 2 rebounds, 1 block, which that block on Bradley Beal was like, whoa, just like the dunk. Like, where was that on all of Detroit? He'd never showed that once. So Detroit fans were just so upset all over the timeline.
It's because he shaved. It's because he finally got rid of his beard, and it was weighing him down. So now he can finally jump.
He was playing chess, not checkers. He knew what he was doing. He made them buy him out so he can get out of there. But yeah, he just – for Nets fans, if you're somehow listening to this podcast, if there are Nets fans out there, he's not going to be a great player, but he will give you some solid minutes. I can promise you that. So it looks like he isn't as washed as he showed. So circling back to our first topic in a way, there's been some discussion around the NBA Twitterverse of with LeBron James and Joel Embiid out, who is the MVP? Now, some people are saying it's Jokic. Some people are still saying it's going to be Embiid. And LeBron fans are obviously still saying it's going to be LeBron, although it doesn't seem like LeBron's going to qualify for enough games to get it. So I'm going to ask you, Ben, who is your MVP favorite with them both out?
Well, since last week I predicted that Steph Curry would lead the Warriors back into a top 6 position in the West and get the MVP, I'm going to stick with that, although I'm not feeling too great about that given he's out for a couple games. But
tailbone.
Yeah, Ben knows a lot about that.
I know a lot about a tailbone injury. Yes, but aside from Curry, who I really like this week, Damian Lillard has been balling out this week. And they are, under the radar. They are 1 game behind the 4 seed Clippers right now. And I think he might be the leading contender for MVP at this moment.
Okay, some Dame love. I like that. All right, Andrew, what you got?
Jump to second.
I was going to say Damian Lillard, actually, because I do not want Steph Curry to win it. I want Damian Lillard to win it. I'm just not a Steph Curry fan, to be honest. And, I mean, I'm from the Bay, and I like the Warriors, and so does my brother. But I mean, I don't want my brother to get the MVP. I want Damian Dollar to finally get his MVP that he deserves, because he does deserve the MVP. It's not even a joke. Like CJ McCollum just got back. I got a text from the Washington Mamba today. Like, who do I drop to get CJ back on my team? Because he's a good player, and I think Damian Lillard is going to be a dark horse carry in the playoffs. And Damian Lillard deserves an MVP.
I love this podcast. We actually are showing Damian Lillard some love. And like Ben mentioned, the NBA always does weekly MVP updates. And Damian Lillard was finally on the list, number 2. And it's awesome to see. Shout out to Josh Olson in the chat. I appreciate you coming by. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. Actually, no, I don't. I don't know why we said that. My MVP favorite, and it's also NBA.com's MVP favorite, that's Nikola Jokic. He is putting up insane numbers. And after struggling at the start of the year, they're starting to play some solid basketball. They did have a bad loss today, but as you said with the Blazers, let me turn my hand real quick. The Nuggets are only 3 games out of the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. They're right there. They're 1.5 games out of the 4th seed. So they're right there. And Jokic is putting up insane numbers. 27 points, 11.2 rebounds, 8.6 assists on 56% shooting, 41% from 3. Those are like video game numbers. That's insane. And I mean, I love watching him play. His talent level is like top tier. And Andrew might want to cover his ears on this one, but Giannis is putting up some pretty great numbers, like really good. And he won't win MVP. He won't, because of voter bias. They don't want to have MVP over and over and over. But he's putting up, 29 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, something like that. He's putting up great numbers. The Bucks are playing really good, but he won't get it because he won 2 straight. There's no way they give him 3 in a row.
And last year didn't even deserve it. Like, we're not going to ignore the fact that, hello? Like, oh my gosh.
But I picked Jokic, but I would not be disappointed whatsoever if Damian Lillard won MVP. I'd actually be super, super, super happy about that. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if Embiid gets knocked, because he's only out 2 to 3 weeks. I wonder if they're going to truly dock him for that and he's out of the race forever, or they're just going to say it's 2 to 3 weeks. It's whatever. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
He won bubble MVP. Actually, he won the bubble MVP. So
who won the bubble
MVP?
So
they had it a bubble MVP, but they didn't get. It's not
wait,
like
didn't Michael Porter Jr. or was it Michael Porter Jr. or was it TJ Warren to win bubble MVP? I think it was Damian Lillard, actually.
It was Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard won bubble MVP, but bubble MVP. But they were on the first team all bubble team. The first team all bubble team. Yep, that's what it was.
Oh yeah,
and by the way,
right. Andrew's right.
And you sound like you're surprised. But may I mention that the bubble CJ? Where's CJ? Low bubble CJ would be really cool, but bubble TJ. Where is TJ Warren this season? I said bubble TJ would be a fluke. So it was. Oh, he's hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, well, but still, where is he?
So yeah, to end this podcast, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, on Thursday is the trade deadline at noon Pacific, 3:00 Eastern. It's the trade deadline, and for those who may not know what that is, after that deadline, there is 0 trades happening. You cannot trade anybody until the offseason begins. And for NBA fans, it's one of the best times of the year. You wake up bright and early, and then a bunch of trades happen. The past couple of years has been very good trade deadlines. Before that, they've kind of been dull. And there's some people who think this year's deadline might be dull, but at the same time, last year, a lot of people thought it'd be dull as well, and then a bunch of action occurred. So, Andrew, what is your final trade deadline prediction that next week when we start this show, we will definitely talk about this trade going through?
Lonzo Ball to the Lakers. No, I'm just joking. That'd be horrible. That's not happening ever. Maybe LaMelo one day. No, I think Lonzo Ball will be traded, however. That's why I got the jersey out. But I'm going to say, and it pains me to say this, but Lonzo to the Clippers. And because the Clippers need a point guard, and I've heard Russell Westbrook rumors, but I just don't see that happening, especially with that contract. And I can see Lonzo Ball getting traded. I will cry if he goes to the Clippers. But as an NBA analyst, I have to be realistic and say that could possibly happen. And I don't know. I don't even know. I would be happy with that.
To your point, this morning, I believe it was reported that the Clippers do have interest in Lonzo Ball, although they said they might have to give up a lot for it. But like you said, the Clippers really do need a point guard, and they're looking everywhere for it. So Lonzo is a very realistic possibility. Ben, what is your prediction?
I'm going to go kind of safe and say LaMarcus Aldridge. He and the Spurs it's done basically. There's no way he's going to remain a Spur after the deadline. Mm-hmm. I guess the only counter argument to that is that it could be a buyout, but I think they'll more likely find a trade partner. Yeah, and I guess if I had to say a team, I'm going to say your Celtics again.
Man, I don't know about that one. So my final prediction, I have a kind of I don't know what the word is. Not really specific prediction, and also a very specific one.
Vague.
Vague. That's the word I was looking for. The Celtics are going to make a trade. They will make a trade this trade deadline, and the reason that's kind of a prediction is because the Celtics haven't made a trade at the deadline significantly since 2014 when they traded for Isaiah Thomas. They've not made one in-season trade since. So a lot of people are saying the Celtics are going to stay still. I think there's zero chance. I think they'll make a trade. Is it a blockbuster? Most likely not, but it might be a lower-end bench piece. I definitely see the Celtics making a trade. And my specific prediction, by Friday, Victor Oladipo will be a member of the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
A reunion.
Because that's been reported and rumored a bit. Victor Oladipo in exchange for Aaron Gordon. And then...
Aaron Gordon to the Rockets?
Wow. Although, actually, that is false. The report was... Okay, Oladipo traded to Orlando. Orlando doesn't want him, though, so another team's going to get involved. Orlando's going to flip Oladipo to another team, but the Rockets do get Aaron Gordon. So I don't know who that team is off the top of my head. It could be Dallas. Dallas could look for Oladipo.
Yeah, Dallas.
I don't expect Dallas to make a move. The Clippers as well. Dallas is going to make a move, though. That's another prediction I got. Andre Drummond has been linked to them as recently as today as well. The Heat. I'm going to give you guys some rumors, people in the chat who haven't heard anything. The Heat have been rumored to get Kyle Lowry, to be interested in him. If Marcus Aldridge bought out, they'll be interested in him. What else? The Clippers are interested in Lonzo Ball, Kyle Lowry, Ricky Rubio, and George Hill. The Celtics are interested in John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and there's one more. I said John Collins. Aaron Gordon.
DN.
Who? No, we're not doing this. But yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of action, and it's going to be very, very, very cool. So I love this time of the year. I keep on saying that. It's just my favorite time of the year. So we'll be back next Sunday.
Wait. Happy St. Patrick's Day, because it is my second favorite holiday. So we did not have a St. Patrick's Day theme, but happy St. Patrick's Day.
All right. So we will be back next Sunday, but it will be me and Andrew and someone else. Ben's going to take the week off. But we do have a surprise announcement for you guys next Sunday. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be very, very cool. But again, thank you guys so much for your support on this YouTube channel and on our podcast. The podcast listens have been going crazy. And also the views and the comments on these videos have been going really crazy as well. So we appreciate you so much for that. Again, we'll be back next Sunday at 8 o'clock, exact same time. Until then, have a good rest of your week and peace.
Lakers back to back, man.